Subject Computer Aided Process Synthesis. Chapter 1 Heat Exchanger Synthesis of Heat Exchanger Network. Lecture number 3, that is Hohmann Lockhart Composite Curve, means HCC curve, and Grand Composite Curve, that is GCC curve. So I'll explain this both curves. First one is Hohmann Lockhart Composite Curve, that is found in 1971. Hohmann, in his PhD working under the guidance of Lockhart, that he is the first who notes the one could compute the minimum utility requirement of the heat exchanger network by directly from the stream information. Was the first who found that we can plot the temperature for the two streams in this exchanger against either the position along the exchanger or against the amount of heat transferred, means Q. We'll plot the T versus Q diagram for the heat exchanger network. Here it is shown the counter current heat exchange between the two stages. Now if we are having the heat capacity Fc for the stream, that is constant, versus temperature diagram, the following equation shows that a plot of the T versus will be the straight line. Means if we are having the heat capacity constant through the streams, so that the equation can be written as a delta T is equals to 1 upon FCP, that is constant, multiplied by delta Q. Suppose we are having they have given one example. Suppose we are having two hot stream which we want to cool. First hot stream, that is having the FCP heat capacity 100 kilojoule, and second, it is having a 200 heat capacity. First hot stream having a temperature range in between the 450 Kelvin to 375 Kelvin, and the second hot stream, that is having a temperature range in between the 400 Kelvin to 350 Kelvin. Though hot streams, the two streams that share the temperature range in between, means common temperature range is 400 to 375 only. Below the 375, that is not in the range of the hot stream 1. Similarly, above the 400, it is not in the range of hot stream 2. So the common temperature range they have taken as 400 to 375 Kelvin. So let us suppose that we'll use these streams together to do anything while they are in this common temperature range. So their combined heat balance, from the above equation we can write Qt is equals to F1 Cp1 plus F2 Cp2, means heat capacity of both the summation of the heat capacity of both the streams, and delta T, means their temperature difference, T minus T inlet. What will be the inlet temperature? So here the temperature is 400. Why? Because we are taking this temperature range 400 to 375 Kelvin, and how much it will achieve the achieve, that is T, means what are the heat removed, that is not fixed, so we are written as a T. So here, as they pass through the exchange, they act like the one stream with the combined FCP, means it is having a 300 combined FCP, right? So when they are in the non-overlapping ranges, we shall use them separately, means when they are not in the 400 to 375 Kelvin range, so use them as a separate stream, right? So here the graph shows that the two merging streams within the common temperature range also and their separate range also. So the figure shows that the plot of the temperature versus the heat flow means delta H for the both stream over their entire temperature ranges. So first we'll start with the first stream, which is having the heat capacity 100 kilojoule per second. It cools from means it is having a temperature range that is 450 Kelvin to 375 Kelvin. So delta H will be FCP into delta T. So delta H is 7500 kilojoule per second, and the rightmost arrow shows this is hot stream 1. Here it is written hot stream 1. This arrow shows this 7 H1 stream. Similarly, for the FCP into delta T means 200 into 400 minus 350. So it will give you the 10,000 kilojoule per second delta H, that is hot stream 2. So that is shown here. Now this is the combined zone of this 400 to 375, means this is the combined zone of these two merging streams. So we can separately put these streams H1 H2 and combine merging stream also, right? So therefore the horizontal distance from where stream 1 is 400 Kelvin to where stream 2 is 375 Kelvin, right? And since the plot for the combined stream is straight, we connect these two points to they merge these streams in this common temperature range. The thicker line is then the plot of temperature versus the flow removed for the combined stream over their entire ranges, right? Means T versus delta H diagram it is shown. Now not it is have two kinks in it at the start and the end of the common temperature range. We can merge this curve with the third hot stream and so forth until we have a composite curve for all the hot stream. It will be a line having a several straight segments. We can merge all the cold stream for a problem in a similar manner. So we will see this theory by one of the example. Let's start. This is the data given in the Bigler book. This data is given, right? C1 C2 H1 H2 means two cold stream, two hot stream is given. Accordingly respectively for the streams they have given the FCP also. With respect to that, T in T out means source and target temperature is also given. Now we'll construct this table. So how you will construct this table, that I have already explained in the lecture number 2 by temperature interval method. So you can compute this table. From this table you will compute this graph. How to draw this graph we'll see in the Excel, right? So from the table of the this example we will only use the hot temperature column, cold temperature column, cascaded heat flow for the cold side and cascaded heat flow for the hot side, right? So we have taken this 4 column for drawing this graph. Now we can see that this is the two graphs are plotted according to T versus delta H, right? So this is the hot side temperature and respective flow heat flow. So this is your hot side temperature, means this is your y-axis and this is for your x-axis. So we have plotted this hot curve, and similarly cold side temperature that is on y-axis and heat flow that is on the x-axis for the cold curve. Now these both the curves are crossing each other. So what do you mean by, means what is the problem behind that, if they are crossing each other? So at this point the temperature ranges, means they have no at this point, after that there is a no heat flow between them, hot side and cold side, means the temperature difference in between them, that is minimum. So in this figure we have plotted the cascaded flow from the table, and we show both the hot and cold temperature scales on the right ordinate. Now we plot the hot cascaded data versus the temperature to get the hot composite curve, and the cold cascaded data versus the cold temperature to get the cold composite curve. We plot both by starting in the upper right with the hot end of the birth stream, and the hot is the solid line starting at the lower temperature and against the right vertical axis. The cold is the solid line starting at the high temperature also against the right vertical axis. Note that the heat flow starts at the zero on the right and increases as we move to the left side. These curves are the plot of temperature versus the heat flow. They could represent the temperature profiles we would see within a heat exchanger. However, we know the temperature hot stream in heat exchanger, that is must be everywhere at least delta T minimum 10 degrees Celsius. That's why we want to shift this curve to make the profile feasible within the exchanger. We can shift one of the two curves right or left until the cold curve is everywhere below the hot curve. So this is not decided if we will shift it 5 degrees Celsius, 10 degrees Celsius, 20 degrees Celsius, right? So here we will shift this hot curve. We can shift either hot curve or cold curve. So here we are shifting the hot curve. So by adding this line, we are shifting this hot curve 10 degrees Celsius, vertically 10 degrees Celsius. If you are drawing manually, so you can shift this all this data of the hot curve vertically 10 degrees Celsius, right? So it will give you this green color line, shifted hot curve. That's I've mentioned here, and its temperature is also mentioned here, shifted temperature, right? Now this horizontal distance between this both the curve, shifted curve and this curve, that will give you the cold utility. And if you are drawing manually, then you will get the horizontal distance between this both the curve, so it is your hot utility. And the uh, uh, and from the curve, hot curve and the cold curve, where it meets, this point known as the pinch point. Pinch point importance we have already discussed. Pinch point at where the temperature difference between the hot side and cold side stream, that is minimum, means no heat transfer occurs at that point, right? So this is the HCC curve that is already we have discussed. Now we want to plot the GCC curve. So what is GCC curve, right? That we will see. So grand composite curve. So we can carry out the same calculations by continue with the example of the HCC curve. We will take that data only, and we will calculate the further one step and generate the data that is representing in the table. Now grand composite hot and cold streams data is available. So according to the temperature, we will calculate the cascaded heat. And now how it is calculated, so that is already discussed in lecture number 2, by subtracting the hot minus cold stream cascaded heat. We can required heat, we can calculate this data, and finally we are having will get this cascaded heat data. Now by adding the higher minus number into this column, and again by adding this all the heat, you will get the two this adjacent cascade heat. So for this grain composite curve, we need to plot the temperature versus adjacent cascaded heat data. So this resulting plot is called the grand composite curve. This curve is one of the most important to understand for the Hans problem that is found in 1979. First we do the mechanics needed, then we interpret what the resulting curve means. So first we need to produce these three columns, and the first of this column is the net heat expelled from an interval. Okay, so cascaded heat is the amount of heat the problem has available from the hot stream over that required by the cold stream. As we move from the high temperatures to the lower ones, anywhere we see a negative number in this cascaded heat column, we know that the hot stream have not produced enough heat to satisfy the needs of the column's cold streams above this entry. So we look for the most negative number in this column, means here it is in the cascaded heat minus 127.7. so here negative is 127.7. This amount of heat must be supplied by hot utilities. We can accomplish this addition by putting the 127.7 kilowatt of heat into the top interval, which we do to create the last column in the table. Cascading heat again, but starting with this heat input will make an minus 127.83 of the previous column, exactly 0. No entry in the cascaded column is now negative. The point where we find the 0 entry, that is our pinch point for our problem. The top number in this column is 127.7 kilowatt. Sorry. And is the minimum amount of heat we must put into the problem from the hot utilities. The bottom number is 250.1 kilowatt, that is shown here. Is the minimum amount of heat we must remove from the problem using the cold utility. These numbers agree with those we found in the figure. Now figure that we will see in the Excel sheet. So this is the GCC curve, grand composite curve, drawn from the temperature versus the cascaded heat adjacent cascaded heat data. So this is the profile it will give you, right? As one moves down on these curves, one can see for every temperature if the process is producing heat or consuming heat. To see the compare the data in the last column from the plot, from the plot we can compare table and plot both. So here it will give you the hot utility requirement, and this distance will give you the cold utility requirement. This is 250 and this is 127.7. This is the same graph that is shown by formatting the axis in the that is given in the book range. Means book is give you the plot of this type of plot, right? So I have formatted this axis. Now in the it shows one of the plot line segment moved down and to the left. The table indicates that these intervals required the 127 point kilowatt of heat input. It is acting locally as a heat sink, and uh, total of excess heat. It is table indicates that it is produced through 353.1, that is the excess heat. It is acting locally as the heat source. The line segment in figure shown moves down and to the right. If we continue looking at the intervals and the plot, we note that every interval that act as either heat sink or heat source. Heat source means it will give you the heat. Heat sink means it will require the some of amount of the heat. So in this all the data, we can see that either it will act as a heat sink or either it will act as a heat source, right? So this is our GCC curve. So we'll conclude here that we can find the hot utility requirements, minimum energy requirements from this graph HCC curves on GCC curves. GCC curve is the final curve that we can plot from the hot and cold composite curves, right? So you can plot this graph manually also in Excel also. You can solve this temperature interval method in the Excel also, right? You can practice one more example for HCC curve and GCC curve based on the GTU paper data, and you will get practice from it. The reference used in mostly I've used Bigler example and its data. So Cedar and Cedar, in the Cedar book, they have shifted accordingly the delta H, means they have shifted horizontally hot curve and cold curve, right? You can refer that both having their own technique, Bigler book and Cedar book. You can refer any one of the method. So thank you so much for listening. Please like, share and subscribe this channel, Illimitable Chemical Engineering. Thank you.